Hello and welcome to another Ask Us Anything webinar. Today, we'll discuss gamification, a feature that makes training more fun and keeps your learners fully engaged and steadily motivated throughout the training. Stay with us and let's get started. My name is Irini and I'm a customer education specialist, and I will be hosting this session live, answering your questions with the help of Nick, who will also answer questions in the background. But before we move on, let's see what we have on our agenda for you today. First things first, what is gamification and the benefits? Also, how to work with gamification in TalentLMS. And last, how to view the gamification report from an admin and learner's perspective. This presentation will take approximately 10 minutes, and then we'll jump straight into your question. And just a reminder here, this webinar is recorded and it will be sent out to you via email once it's over, so feel free to share it. And last but not least, you need to use the Q&A button in order to answer your questions. You can find it at your meeting controls on your screen. Click on it and send us your questions, and have no worries. Those questions don't need to have any name. They can be anonymous too. So let's see, what is gamification? Well, gamification in the workplace is the use of game techniques in a non-game context to keep users engaged and motivated throughout their training. TalentLMS lets you gamify your e-learning experience and offers some of the most popular and battle-tested gamification techniques, such as points, mainly used for keeping score, badges that highlight the milestones in a user's progress, levels that represent a user's development stages, rewards, tangible gains for users that move forward, and leaderboard, the public scoreboard. But before I give you more details of how to use that in TalentLMS, let me first share my screen. I hope that you all see my screen right now. So in order to turn on gamification, you need to head to the account and settings and click gamification. Now, on the next page, you can turn the gamification on or off from here, and it's really good practice to set it up at the beginning before you start assigning courses to your users. Now, from here, you can also turn on or off different individual options as mentioned above. You can also adjust the point system for here. So let's say 50 points, or I can reset to default settings and restore the default point system by clicking this button here. Also, by clicking the reset statistics, you can reset the user's gamification statistics if you want to run repetitive competitions for small periods of time. Right up next to the badges, we have this button, customize badges, because with gamification, you can also customize your badges from here. We have different sets that you can select. So let's go for the super clean. You see that the badges have just changed, or you can upload your own badges by clicking here and upload badges. These are the requirements, or even rename that badge. Just a note here that your badge image must be at least 200 times 200 pixel. But how can we view the gamification report? Well, we need to go back by clicking the home button and head straight to the reports. Now, on this page, we have the overview of our training progress. So if you want to check the total points and badges and the current level of all your users at once, click here, the green training progress button, and you will download the overall system report in Excel format. I have one here just for you. So this is it. So you can check by clicking the user's seat here, the total points and levels and badges that your users have earned. Alternatively, you can click on infographics, which is the visual presentation of our training progress. And once it's up, here it is, you can go further down to the gamification section. You see that the results are updating right now, and check the results from here. Also, if we go back to the reports, we can check for each user individually from their own report by clicking the user's reports. Just a couple of seconds, here it is. So click on the user reports from here. Let's click on a user, let's go for Laura. And on the next page, we have Laura's report. Okay, it needs a couple of seconds to load. Okay, so we have Laura's report here, and from the overview tab, you can check the badges that she has collected and the points she has so far. And if we go further down, we can also see the recently earned badges and her, her position among other users. From a learner's perspective, so let me switch back as a learner to do that. They can also check their progress so far when it comes to the gamification. The first thing, one way is to click on the green button here or here, where they can check the total points. And of course, the leaderboard will show and the different tabs for levels and badges, so they can see where they stand so far among other users. Or they can click on their progress report by clicking progress. And of course, from the overview tab that will show right here, they can check the points they have earned. And if they go further down, they can also check on the recently earned badges and again, the leaderboard compared to other people. Now, a bonus trick for you. Gamification is not here only to make training fun and engage your users, but you can also create learning paths. But how can we do that? Well, first of all, let's switch back as admins. We need to ensure that we have enabled the levels on the gamification section, on the gamification rules. So we would go for the account and settings, gamification, and enabled levels. And then we would go to our courses. So let's go to our course list and select a course. Let's go for this one. And from the course setting page, if we go further down, we see this option, level. Now we will select the level that we want. Let's go for level 2 and click update course. And now at this point, the users will need to spend more time with the site, complete more courses in order to reach out level 2 and be able to unlock this specific course. This is an alternative way to create a very interesting and engaging learning path. Now, at this point, I think that we need to check on your Q&A because I see that the button is being flashing. So let me just open my Q&A list from here and let's check on your questions. So first question comes from Michael. Can you share any ideas or best practices for time gamification and points to incentive prices, etc.? Well, something that I can think of at the moment is that you can definitely have, of course, the leaderboard enabled. So all of your users can check on their position so far. A really good practice is to have set the gamification at the beginning, because if you set it up in the middle of your training process, the points that would have been earned so far cannot be added later on automatically by the system. But definitely you can use the gamification and of course use the section from the infographics to show the top 3 and then assign any prizes for your users. Of course, if you would like to discuss it further and check how this could work better on the idea that you have in mind, you can reach out to us by sending us an email at trainingteam@talentlms.com so we can get back to you if you have something really specific on your mind. Now, there is a question from Bill. If learners gain points and badges and then gamification is turned off for a period of time, do those points and badges stay with the learner when gamification is turned back on? Well, once the user gains points and badges, even if you turn off the gamification, the points and the badges will remain on the user's history. So once the gamification is turned back on, they will still have the points and the badges that would have earned at that point. However, the points that they would have earned during the period of time where the gamification was off, if it was on, for the courses they would have completed, will not be added because gamification is not working retrospectively. But nothing is be lost. Whatever they have earned until the gamification was turned off, yes, they will still have it back on once the gamification is on. Another question from Heather. Can you can you advertise prices, visuals on the dashboard as a teaser? If I have understood correctly, you would like to check how you can have a visual presentation of the gamification. Well, we can do that through the reports and the reports and the infographics, which can be found here, reports, infographics. And if you go further down, the visual presentation of those prices, let's say, would be here on the gamification section. This is the visual presentation of the gamification. And of course, when it comes to the infographics, you can definitely export that report in a PDF. So you can definitely use that section later on your presentation or on your advertisement. Another question, it comes from an anonymous attendee. Can you give different points per course? Yes, you can definitely do that with TalentLMS. So we need to go back with the home button as admins, and we can use for that the automation that can be found in the events engine. Just a note here that the automation is a feature that is available for premium and enterprise accounts. And of course, we would give our automation a name, and the automation that would work here is this: on course X completion, give Z points. So basically, you will select the course that you want to assign additional points, and you would set the points from here, let's say 50 points. Now, just a note here that the users that will complete this score will get those 50 points additionally. So they will get either way the points that will apply through the gamification rules, but they will also get additionally those 50 points. Okay, let's see. Another question comes from an anonymous attendee. Can gamification be turned off on an individual level so the super admin or a test learner is excluded from the leaderboard stats? I'm afraid that when it comes to gamification, we don't have the option to exclude specific users. Once the leaderboard is on, everybody can see everybody that they compete on. But what you could do, a workaround that I can think of at the moment, is if you want, if you have those individuals in a branch, let's say, maybe you could use the user types in your advantage for that. So the first thing that you need to do is go to the user type. So let's wait a couple of seconds, okay? Go to the user types and click add user type and create a custom user type. Well, you have the permission of the gamification unchecked. And once you do that, of course, you will give your user type a name and a user type default role. And if you go back to your list of your branches, let's go to our branches. Let's say that we create a branch for this purpose. So one of the settings when it comes to the branches is to set the default user type. So you could set that custom user type as a default for this branch. So that means that each user that is being added in that branch will get that user type. And of course, the gamification feature will not work for those people that have that specific user type. I hope this workaround works for you, but if not, please get back to us at training team at talentlms.com to give us more details so we can get back to you. Now, another question comes from an anonymous attendee. Can we notify users how many points they have with a message? Well, we don't have a notification specifically for points, but when it comes to notifications, we have a notification about the levels that a user has reached. So let's go to the notification as an admin from the events engine, of course, and select that event. That event is on level X reached. And maybe you could use that notification, let's say the related user. Let's say that we want to notify our users. Maybe you could add your message on this body body area and also use the smart tags so you can share an automatic message about the level your users has reached that maybe equals X points. Maybe you could use that as an alternative. Another question, a lot of questions. So let's see. There's a question from Björn. Is the current score lost when we create a new gamification design? No, the current score for each user is not lost. So even if you go back to the gamification and make any adjustments on the point system, the score so far will not be lost for the users. Even if you turn off the individual options from here. So let's go back to the gamification. Just a couple of seconds to load. Okay, even if you turn off any of those individual options, the score that each user has collected so far will not be lost. And even if you make any adjustment, it's just that the new rules will apply. And just a note here, when it comes to the gamification rules will also apply to the branches too. So if you have the gamification on for the branches, the same rules that you have set from here will also apply for the branches. The only difference is that the only difference is that you need to select the stickers that will apply for that specific branch. Another question from an anonymous attendee, can we disable gamification for a specific branch? Well, yes, we can do that. So if we go back to the home page, let's go and check on the settings that we have on a branch. So let's say that I want to create a branch from the beginning. Okay, as you can see here, we need to select the stickers that would apply for this branch, but there is not any option to disable it. In order to do that, we need to create the user types. This is the workaround that we discussed before from another user that made a question. You need to create a custom user type where you would have the gamification permission unchecked, and then set that custom user type as a default user type from here. So that means that for that specific branch, the gamification will not work. That's the workaround that we have at the moment because we don't have the option to disable the gamification from here, from this section. Another question from an anonymous attendee too. Can we notify users how many points they have with a message? I think that we have answered that question again. But just let me repeat that in case we missed it. We can use the notification for levels. This is the only notification that we have available, gamification related, let's say. So if we click on the notifications, maybe we could use that. So it's this one on level X reached. Select the related recipient. Of course, here is where you would write your email. The first line is always the subject of the email. And in the body of your email, maybe you could convert, let's say, the level into points and maybe message your users like that. Please get back to us if you would like to have more information of how this could be set up, or if you have something really specific, you can definitely get back to us with an email at trainingteam@talentlms.com. Now, another question comes also from an anonymous attendee. Can I import points? Well, that's a really interesting question because we do know that we have the import functionality that we can do a lot of things, but I'm afraid that it's not possible to import any points, but we have a workaround for you. If you don't have a large database, if you have like 5 or 6 users, that it's a really decent amount of users, what you can do is go to the reports and go to the users reports that you can click from here. Okay, and let's say that I want to adjust the points for Laura. So I can click on the user. And on the next page, if I go further down and click on the gamification button here, the leaderboard will open. But this time I can see that from an admin perspective. And right here with the plus, with the pencil icon, if I click it, I can adjust the points for the users. So one workaround if you don't have a large database is to go for each user individually from the user reports and adjust the points from here. Now, if you have, however, a large database, what you can do is create a fake course, an empty course, and by using the automation functionality, add the points that each user would gain for completing that course. And then you can use the import functionality to import the user's historical data for that specific course. So once the users, the historical data of those users would be imported and the course would import it as completed in the platform, automatically they will get those points. I hope these two workarounds work for you. But again, feel free to get back to us on an email if you have more questions on that. Now, a question from Heather. Nick just answered that question. I didn't catch him. He's like on fire when it comes to the Q&A. Another question from an anonymous attendee. Can I add how many points they earn when a course is completed on their certificate? Well, yes, you can do that, but you need to do some extra steps before to do so. So you can either go here from the account and settings. Okay, just a couple. We have just a couple of seconds to load. Okay, so we can go here from the account and settings and go to the custom fields and specifically to custom course fields. So from here, you can add a field, name it points. Maybe it would be a text, let's say, the input method, and click add field. Now, once you do that, on the setting page of a course, you will also have that field that you need to complete it, that you need to complete the points that a user would get. But let me just save that field. So let me right here, points, text, and add field. And of course, we click save. Now, as I said, that custom field will show on the setting page. So every time you create a course, you can add how many points the user would earn for completing that course from there. And if we go to the certificates to create our own certificate. Okay, just a couple of seconds to load. Let me just click that one more time. Maybe that will help. Okay, now the page is loading. Okay, now if you go here on the template, because as we said, we can customize the template of our certificate. Here you can find that smart tag that has been created because from the custom course field. So you create your template here and you can add that smart tag on your template and that will populate the course information on the certificate every time that it's been completed. I hope this workaround works for you. Now, a comment from Frank, thanks for this course. Please make sure the video recording is shared with us after. Thanks. Yes, we will definitely share this video recording, so please have no worries. Thank you, Frank, for your feedback. And I think that we have time for one last question. So let me check what that would be. So, do gamification points awarded on each successful attempt? I believe that you are talking about the successful attempts when it comes to tests, Well, at this point, the gamification points will be awarded only on the first successful attempt and not for each successful attempt. So no, not all successful attempts will get the rewards. It's just the first successful one. And with that said, I don't see any other questions. So I think that it's a wrap. So thank you all for joining today on our webinar. I'm pretty sure that you will have a lot of questions afterwards. So feel free to share it. Feel free to send that questions to us. You can find our email. It's trainingteam@talentlms.com. Feel free to send all your questions and we will get back to you. And of course, we love to hear your feedback. So our survey link is just posted on the chat. It takes less than a minute, and we love to hear your feedback with what you expect from us for future webinars. Thank you all for joining. Thank you, Nick, for being on fire and helping us in the background with all the questions. And we hope to see you on our next webinars. And as we said before, we officially have our own webinar page. You can find it at talentlms.com/webinars. It's like our webinar academy, because there you can find all the past webinars and also register for the upcoming ones. Again, thank you very much for participating in this webinar. Until next time, happy training.